Hey, 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 good morning, Facebookers.
Hello.
How are you? This is Sarah, and I'm Carmel for those of you who do know or not know. So, we're on the business page today. So, in future at 10 a.m. Monday mornings, there may be a few exceptions, but I will let you know in advance that we're going to do the business tips here on the business page to make sure that everybody else is accessing it, and because we're talking about business after all. So, for those of you that are just joining us that maybe haven't seen us before, myself, I'm Carmel Murphy, and this is Sarah Rose, and we're going to talk to you all about business. Sometimes me, sometimes Sarah, sometimes both of us, and at the moment we're kind of been focusing for the last month on video. And one of the reasons is that if you're not keeping up with video right now in your business, you risk being left behind. Facebook themselves say that in 2021, 2022, at a push, all of Facebook is going to be mostly video. Now, whether that's live video or whether that is actual videos that you're bringing in or whatever like that, but it's all going to be video, and that's how people consume a lot of the message and a lot quicker. So it's really important that we talk about video. So if you haven't seen some of the other ones, go back onto my personal page and have a search in there and for business tips, because we've put some on a few other weeks, haven't we?
Yeah, we've done a few in a row.
We have. We've talked about lots of different things. I even brought you in to go look at the one where I brought you into my room and I showed you the video setup. A little bit clunky and a little bit whatever, but yeah. So let us know underneath as you go. So if you're watching this later, if you see this after the fact, let us know if you have any questions, anything you want to know more about video, and anything actually around marketing in business. Let us know, and we'll cover that in some of the business tips too. So some of the big things that, and I spoke about it in a live today, I'm going to talk about 3 things today. It's what to wear when you're videoing, or your image, or what it is that you want. The message, to be really clear on your message, so that when you're talking in your video, that there's no illusion what you're talking about. And what do you want to portray? They're the 3 things that we're going to talk about. But just before we touch on those, one of the things, I've just been in Brisbane for a few days training, and one of the things that came up a lot, and I did a live about it today, is overwhelm. So people are getting so overwhelmed that this new idea of, say, video is overwhelming, and then you have to write copy, and then you have to do this, and then you have to do that, and you have to pay the bills, and then family do something, all of this stuff. And I totally get it, because I was a bit lax when I was away myself. I got so overwhelmed with all the information. It's like, what bag do I drop? And I just want you to know, before we even talk further about the videoing, is I get it. Sarah gets it. We go into overwhelm sometimes, but it's really vital to just stop when you get there. Literally stop and go, okay, let's lay it down. What do I need to do? What do I not need to do? And what's more urgent than another? And sometimes that's a matter of reaching out to somebody else.
It is, to help organise and to prioritise what's important. Sometimes the overwhelm prevents you actually from even being able to make the choice. So I know we're quite good at, we talk to each other like, what's next, but it's bouncing off someone else to help you put it back in perspective of what's the most important and going to be the most effective for the time that you've got.
Absolutely, it's unbelievable. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was in a room with about 30 people, talking to some of them, and I was getting the same message, and I get it from my clients as well, and they go, oh my God, but which ball do I keep in the air and which I don't? So I get it. So that's okay, just stop. But know this, if you're not taking some steps forward, you're going backwards. There's no such thing as I'll just stay where I am. So if you're not taking some steps forward, you are going backwards. But reach out to somebody, whether that's myself or Sarah, if you know us, or that's somebody else, that's fine. But you need to reach out to somebody and bounce it off them so that you can help yourself move forward. And don't reach out to somebody that tells you to just, if you're in business, just go get a job, because you need somebody that's going to support you and sustain you. Sometimes you need to do that, but sometimes you don't. Okay, so you talk to somebody who has what you want or is on the way to getting what you want.
That's a big one.
Yeah, so let's talk about video. As I said, we're going to go what to wear around your image. We're going to talk your message, talk to your core message, and we're going to talk what do you want to portray. So when we talk about stuff like this, Sarah, and I know one of the things we're going to cover next week is about whether it's a live video or a regular video, because there are differences and different things that you can do. So for you, when you talk about what to wear and what the image you're trying to put out there in a video, what tips would you give about that, Sarah?
Well, as you said, I think it depends on the type of video. So maybe like on a live, we can be slightly more relaxed. But if I was creating a professional video, like a promotional video, something that's out there, maybe trying to get someone to an event or to purchase a product, something like that, that's where you really got to start thinking about your image and your branding.
Yes.
So when I do a video like that, I'm definitely thinking of my avatar. So the person that I'm wanting to bring along with me on this journey, what is it that they're aspiring to be, and they need to see that in me.
Yeah.
So for instance, I'd probably have a blazer on, a black blazer, or look a little bit more, I don't want to say corporate, but just a little more polished, maybe. And then in terms of colors, I've got a couple of colors that I wear, and that allows consistency, not only through the videos, but if the video is then upselling, say, to a product or a free webinar or something like that, then when they land on that webinar page, the registration page, the sales page, whatever that is, the colors are telling a story, and there's the consistency, and I think that makes you look, it keeps the professionalism, and it keeps the connection, just a visual connection between you, them, and your brand. And
absolutely. And it is, I like the way you make the distinction between, like, this is much more casual, as you can see. I've got rid of my messy bookshelf for people that have been watching before, but this is much more casual that we're talking like this. However, and there's a lot you can do in video. You have green screen video, you have transitions, there's a lot of stuff that you can do, and the message that you want to put across. But it's important to have, and there's a safety in, like, theme colors, for example. So if you have certain colors that people, your audience, see as safe colors, and they see it regularly, then they start seeing you, they start noticing you, and they start feeling safe with you. So the trust is built up. So you're showing up, you're looking the same, you've got the same kind of colors. It can be a bit different. I'm a bit of a funky thing. Sometimes I have chickens in the back, but it's something in a live I would do. I would never bring that into a professional video.
No.
And again, you want to look not too far away from your ideal client. You don't want to be so polished that they think it's something they can't achieve. Yeah. But you want to be a few steps ahead, so they think, she's kind of like me. If she can do that, so can I. So it's really important that that image is there, that it's not too, and I mean this respectfully, please don't jump on me and say, oh my God, what do you mean? But too plastic. There are some people that you will see and you'll go, oh no, my God, no, I couldn't work with them, because they look too perfect. So we need to make sure that we're not putting that out there if that's your ideal avatar. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense?
I think there needs to be an authenticity to your style as well. I think that's maybe what you mean by plastic, when you feel like someone's trying a little too hard and you lose the personal touch. Yeah. Because we're all just people in business, right? You know, you don't want to just portray an image.
In business? Is that what it is?
Yeah, what? That image also has to connect with the viewers and who you want to work with most.
Yeah, absolutely. So point number 2 is your message. Now, I know myself and Sarah do a lot about our core message. It's one of the things that I didn't get for a while, to be quite honest with you. And it doesn't mean that, you know, you say this message everywhere, but everything you talk about comes back to this message. So if you have a message, for example, about I have the best bicycles in the country, you don't always have to say I have the best bicycles in the country, but you would show it every time you talk to people. You would show it. You would arrive with one of the best bicycles. You would be dressed like somebody who rides the best bicycle. So your message becomes integral to who you are and what you put out there. Does that make sense?
I think it does. Yeah, I mean, your message is what most of your marketing should hang off in a sense. And that core message is something that you become known for, even if you're not saying it all the time. again, it sort of works with your image as well. Like it's meeting your avatar where they're at, and that message is resonating with them and their problems and the solutions you provide.
Yeah. So give us an example of your core message. So what we do is we try and have 3 core messages that kind of talk to each other, if you like, they flow. But give us an example of one of your main overarching core messages.
Well, one of my messages, and I'm still working with this, I think it's a work in progress, but one of them is that how you were taught to write at school isn't profitable writing. And so this is a skill that we were taught. You know, we went to school, we wrote essays, we wrote creative stories, you might have written like scientific reports, like all those different styles of writing. And then you come out into, if you're in a career, that's fine. That probably made you money because you're following the structure of what was required for a job. When you come into the world of business and then start writing for, say, your marketing or video scripts or sales pages, it's a completely different type of writing. Yeah. So I sort of highlight that fact that, like, if you are struggling with writing your copy, your web pages, your posts, whatever that is, it's not your fault. We just need to put a few tweaks and learn some new strategies and techniques around writing that help you communicate your message clearer, with more confidence, so that you can get a bit more certainty in those results that you're going to get when someone's reading it.
Yeah.
So you sort of, it's the tweaks to the writing.
It has to be conversational because we read in conversational unless you're reading a book because you want a story to bring you whatever. But if you're in Facebook or you're doing some shorter marketing, it's conversational. People need to resonate with it, don't they? And that's not how we're taught to write.
No, so we're not taught copywriting at school, and we're often not even taught it. If you went and did a course on marketing, they might touch on it. But that's what I try and bring out into the open for business people is, look, hey, like, it is a different style and it just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of skill development, but it's not as scary as it sounds.
And quite often people are, I know for me, at first when I heard copywriting, I'm thinking you have to copyright something rather than actually write good copy.
It's writing copy.
It's writing actually a message in a certain way. It's anything you do in your Facebook, in your social media, in your advertising is copywriting in how we're talking about it.
And if you think about it, like, we're writing every day. Like, you might think you're not a writer in the sense of like a traditional writer. Like, I didn't write a novel. Like, I don't write. But if you think of how many emails you're probably writing, every time you're on Facebook, you're probably writing a post. If you're on Instagram, we're writing captions, just replying to people on Messenger. You know, if you've got a website and you're constantly evolving that, you're actually writing a lot in business. And I think it's something that people don't realize until we're in it.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, how do we do it? And also, why is my message not resonating? Or why am I not getting the results in terms of sales or leads or whatever that is?
Yeah.
And that usually does come back to how you've communicated your message.
Awesome.
And that comes into video with your video scripts. So when we're doing those more professional videos, promotional videos, you know, having a script just takes the pressure off. What am I going to say next? Like, you just,
and you don't always have to have, look, it depends on your style. So I'm known,
you're a bit less reliant on a script
in some areas as the bullet point queen. Because when you know what you're talking about and you know your topic, and even now, like today we're talking, I have 3 items there because they're the 3 key areas that we want to cover. And then it's conversational. So you can do the same in videos. It doesn't have to be script, but it has to be scripted enough that you're not going waffle, then you talk about everything. So one of my core messages is what I've almost mentioned earlier, is that overwhelm is your biggest profit blocker in business. So we were talking about overwhelm earlier. I do this every time my alarm goes up. So we were talking about overwhelm earlier, and that's exactly what it is. Everyone gets overwhelmed with so much stuff that they can't get the stuff done in their business. So they end up going back and being in a job that they have to rely on, or else they're in business with this hard, head down, ass up all the time, not realizing that, you know, it's such hard work and the business isn't flourishing the way they want to. And there's 2 things that are always in the way, and that's not being able to get people to buy from you and not being able to get past this stuff in order to see what it is that you need to change. So that's kind of where I come from, and help people do both. I'm a bit of an action taker, just a little bit. But also working out, well, what is it that's in your way as you go to take action? Because we have some of these old beliefs and old leftover disbeliefs actually in ourselves that are sitting in our head all the time that we don't even realize. So it's really important to have somebody to help you when you get to that block, because you don't see it. You just know that you're bouncing off this bloody invisible wall, and you keep coming back and going, hang on, there's 12 months gone. What the bloody hell has just happened? Always happens around December or January in particular. And I've heard a lot of people say now, it's February. Oh, the year has really started. It's just February now. It's like, okay, so you've lost a whole month and a half, you know, December and getting over Christmas and that going, here's all my New Year's resolutions. Then you've lost the whole month of January thinking about, I can't keep up with my New Year's resolutions. And thank God January's over, let's start February. What's that about? We're losing so much time. So we need to know our message and know who it is we're talking to, so we can bring them along. And I don't think anyone's under any illusion of the amazing writing Sarah does and of the action taken I do, for example. So they're just two examples of it. So it's really important that you know your message and what you stand for, because when you're talking to your niche and when you're talking even deeper to your ideal client, then they're under no illusion to what you mean. Other people might say, what are you talking about? You say, well, cool, they're not in my niche, they're not my ideal client, so it doesn't actually matter that they don't get it.
I think the cool thing, once we do get sort of settled on some of those core messages, is the stories that you can tell around them, which is then the engagement with your audience, engagement with your avatar. So like you were saying, like with overwhelm and just feeling like gaining no traction, I mean, the stories we could both tell about feeling like that is how we get that emotional connection with people, right? Yeah. And then like in terms of writing, like just sometimes there's massive barriers and sometimes there's not. Some people love writing, some people don't, but there's stories in there as to why they feel how they feel. Yeah. And then of course why the results aren't happening in the way that they'd prefer.
Cool. So that's point number 2. So we've got to what you want to wear in the image in your videos, your message, talk to your core message. Always, whatever you talk about hangs off these messages. So then you're never stuck with your, you know, elevator pitch or anything like that, because you can change it any time because you know what's underneath that core message. And number 3 is, what do you want to portray in your videos? And more than that, where do you want to take them? So for example, if you're doing a video course, like where do you want to take them? If you're doing a webinar that's leading into a course that you're doing, you need to know clearly where you want to take them, so you can reverse engineer how you need to talk to them and what you need to tell them in order for that decision to be really easy for people. So what do you want to portray in any of your videos? So I know that you've just been doing making something just recently, a webinar, but how did you tell us a little bit about how you put it into your head of how you kind of reverse engineer to do that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think I often do start at the end. Where do I want to take people? What's that action that I'm going to try and encourage through either the training, because I love teaching, so through the training like a webinar or through a promotional video, say. So what's the end point? So that's the action that we're going to try and encourage people to take. Yep. And then I work backwards from that. So if that's the action, then we need to make sure that product's ready to roll for starters. But then I work backwards and think, well, what's a story that I can tell that makes that end point make sense? So like the journey from this to that makes sense for them to take the next action. Yeah. And I think it's always about giving value. The value has to be relevant to the action you want them to take at the end.
Good point. Good
so
point.
For instance, I have been building out a webinar which will be released soon, and part of the webinar is training them on the 6 steps to help you write better copy, but it's also highlighting how having feedback, having someone else's eyes on your writing, having that ability to dig deeper than just some generic steps will allow you to actually get there faster. Yeah. So there's a story that I'm telling throughout the training. There's emotions that I'm talking to throughout the training. Yeah. I'm also at times telling their story back to them. Yeah. And again, that's knowing your message and knowing your avatar well. And then it culminates at this end, which is, look, if you want to continue further and learn further and you want to start honing your skills to a different level, this option now makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So there's the journey you're taking them on. Yeah.
And guys, it's not about, I mean, I know the enormous value that Sarah gives. So like that webinar is full of takeaway value, regardless of if
and that's the thing, like I've made it so that whether they take action at the end or not, they've got everything they need to go and do that now in their business.
Yeah.
So it's not holding back the juicy bit. Sometimes, you know, the bit scammy or sleazy marketing is like they build it all up and then you have to buy to get the one thing that's going to make the difference. It's like, no, lay it all out there. Yeah. Because there'll be people who can take that and run on it. That's great. Love it. And then there's going to be someone who wants to connect with you more and go to that next level.
Because we all know we go to courses, webinars, whatever, and we learn the steps. I've walked away and I've gone, oh my God, those 5 steps, I can do them. But it's harder to do it on your own when you actually walk away and out of that environment, because it's ping, ping, ping in your head. I know for me, anything, the half-day workshops and things like that, and the webinars when I'm doing them, it's like, what action do I want the person to take? Now, it's not always another course. No. Sometimes it's just literally value adds, and the action is, give me your email, I'll send you a PDF or whatever like that. So it's being clear on what you want them to do and talking to your message in that. So again, they see you as the expert. So Sarah's webinar is about copywriting. Do you know what I mean? So there's no illusion when my webinar that will be coming out is all about how to identify your lucrative target market. So there's all of those things. So using video, this is the thing. So using video to do all of that. So the webinar that Sarah's put together is a videoed webinar. The one I'll put together will be a videoed webinar. The course will be some webinar. It might be some face to camera. I know I did lots of workshops, so I'll bring in some of the things where I actually talked live about certain things in the workshops as well. That'll be part of the course. But it's all video, and that's what we're talking about, guys.
And just on that note, like when you are creating a content or like for a course that you're selling, like it's actually quicker to make a video sometimes than actually like set up a Word document and then format it, and you got, you know, like all that sort of thing. Graphic design comes into it. It's like I could have literally just stood in front of a camera with a whiteboard and taught it in 10 minutes instead of taking me like 3 hours to create something.
And if you're anything like me, I'm much better, sorry to interrupt you, I'm much better to talk something than I am to actually write it. I'm better, I actually often record myself sometimes and then type it afterwards, so I don't have the hiccup and the block when I'm writing.
But like when we're coming back to the idea of like there is a lot to do, and there's really only, as your business grows, there's just always more to do. We're looking at efficient ways to create content and get our message out there and get people's eyes on us. Yeah. So again, video is a very time effective and cost effective way of doing this.
And according to, I think it was HubSpot, they said, so what was the percentage? It's something ridiculous, like 70%. Even, actually, one of the bits of research we found was that CEOs, like people in high places, they will actually listen to a video much more than even read the stuff underneath. Even though we're led to believe that, you know, have all the stuff underneath because people don't want to, you know, play it loudly, or quite often they're in work and they come off. I get that, but even that, a lot of people with high, in high positions will listen to the whole video rather than actually just read the bottoms of it.
And the great thing with video is you get to know the person at the same time. You know,
and if you're adding value in your videos, if you're adding value, people will watch your videos. People will want to know more of you. They see you as a real person. They hear your voice. I get people from interstate that have listened to my webinars over the years going, oh, you're Carmen. Oh my God, you're the exact same as you in real life as you are in the webinar. To me, that's high praise because I have a big authentic bone in my body. However, I talk about nailing your niche in a whole other thing, and one of the first steps of that is how to build a bond. So building a bond of trust, know and likability before they ever see you. And that is exactly what that is for me. People go, oh my God, you're Carmen, I've heard your webinars, I've heard this, I've watched this and this, before they ever met me. So they trust me already. So it's really important that we use video and audio. You can use it because you can split the video and audio as well. You can do that really easily in Camtasia. And you can have that so people, if they don't watch you all the time, they can split it. They can actually just listen to you, like in podcasts and that sort of thing as you're driving around. But if you have the video, you can split it really easily. So I know we've talked about video, but it's just...
we just love it.
We love it. We're getting ready for a 2-day workshop. Hey, do you know what I'm really excited about? One of our friends, or one of associates, would you call it?
Yeah,
a business colleague, a beautiful, awesome businesswoman, and she's flying all the way from bloody Melbourne just to come to the 2-day workshop here in Perth. So if you're in Perth and video interests you, make sure that you let us know. We'll put the link below and come to the 2 full day immersive workshop where you'll get to find out where to get free images, free videos, so you don't even have to be in front of the camera all the time yourself. Not like us brazers that are here. Would you believe 2.5 years ago, I wouldn't even get on Facebook Live. How long ago was it?
This is like end of last year, or sorry, the first one I did.
Because she was here in my house and I went, come on, we're going on video.
See, she's good at making you take action.
Because the thing about it is, it doesn't have to be scary. You know, what's the worst thing that can happen? People say, oh, that video was ridiculous. Or it goes viral and we get even better known. But if you're anyway interested in it, if you've got some excuse going on, let us know. I'll help you get past that excuse. Because video, I can't recommend it highly enough. We are flying somebody in as well to deliver this 2-day full immersive workshop. And will I tell them?
Yes, go on.
So you're actually going to get his highest converting template to take away in your little hands on the computer, highest ever, color coded, telling you where he did what. You're going to get that if you come, but only if you come. And you're also going to get, I don't know, it's ridiculous value to me, but anyway, 2 full days, and then you get 3 webinars afterwards to go, okay, I've gone away and I've implemented some of it. Can you test that? Can you tell me? Can you show me? Can you tell me where I went wrong in it as well? So fully supported, 2 full days and 3 webinars as well. It's just, it's ridiculous.
And I think just speaking on that, the template, we're going to show you the crossover between copy, so the written form, and then getting that into video. Yes. And that sometimes is a bit that's missing in programs and courses out there. It's okay. I think people kind of understand the basis of video, but we've got to get these videos converting, so it's high conversion videos. And that's where the link between your copy, I call it a script, but whatever that is you're going to say, whatever those words are going to be, whether you're saying it, they're coming up as annotations, whatever that is, this template shows you how to nail both of those at the same time, like the video and the copy, so your message is just out to the world and it's got the best chance of converting. So it's really exciting.
I've seen what's in the workshop. You've seen what's in the workshop. You haven't seen what's in the workshop. And when I tell you that it's extraordinary value, if you trust me, but here's the thing, if you do come, it's in Perth, 22nd and 23rd of February. As I said, I put the link down below. If you do come, and I'm putting it out there to the public, anyone, if you come and you find there's been no value and you cannot implement anything in it, you come to me and you say, Carmel, I didn't like that, and I will give you back your money. I can't say any fairer than that. You know, when you have something that you know is just going to blow somebody's mind and just going to make a difference, and you don't want to be push, but at the same time you want to say you need to get in the room, well, it's that. You need to get in the room. I can't recommend it enough. I don't recommend everything. This I cannot recommend enough. I actually am probably underselling it, if anything, because when you get a multimillionaire's actual template for the high conversion that he has used several times, mate, yeah, I'm in there. So I'll put the link underneath. If you have any questions about it, by all means feel free to ask me. But I trust you're seeing the importance in business of using video. It's not just us that's saying it. Please go and Google it. Google the stats on it. There are so many stats. And if you're a coach, consultant, or in anything like that service type industry, it's a $304 billion industry at the moment. And people are coming more and more into it because people, like, look at all the retail outlets that are closing, all the hospitality outlets that are closing. People, and especially people of a certain age, they don't want to go back and start from scratch. They're in trying to see, well, how can I start a business? And let me tell you, if you want to keep ahead of that, and that's a big influx at the moment, you need to be doing videos. So get in the room, guys. I can't say enough. Is there anything else that we need to cover?
I think we've covered it off a lot today.
We've covered a lot in tips. So remember, what you want to wear, your image in a video, your message, talk to your message, and what do you want to portray and what action do you want them to take. You have those 3 things in a video, you can get some videos happening. So if you want to know any more, guys, let us know. So it's bye from us.
See ya.